time was
Oh,
like, oh, it's almost 7.
there we
It's
go.
yeah. So
Are we
we're just
live?
gonna yeah, we're live now. So we're just gonna wait for a couple people to start jumping on.
I think we're
Um,
live. Where's the countdown?
oh, we didn't do the countdown this time.
Oh, okay.
We just went because I don't think we did the countdown. We didn't do the countdown.
Last time,
No.
I know like the very first time, I think we did do the
Yeah. So how I know that I know we're a bit behind, but
countdown.
how
Yeah,
just like 15 minutes, just like 15 minutes.
that's
Um,
okay. Better late than never, right?
yeah. How's your day going?
Uh, my day has been a little bit of not a roller coaster, but I've been busy. Definitely been busy getting Daniel situated with school. I met his teachers, officially met the teacher's assistant and also his speech pathologist this morning. And so, yeah, other than that, it's been a day. How about yourself?
It's been good. I was glad to see that you started a page for your journey of working with Daniel, and
Yeah,
because that is something that a lot of people, kind of shy away from or don't watch or don't really
don't
want
really
to
want to
talk
talk
about.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah, so I thought it was really cool to see that you have taken that initiative to kind of document his journey, his successes, the frustrations, but more importantly, like the victories that he has in doing it. So if you haven't already, it'll let them know where they can follow.
on Instagram, the buyer's journey, the BYERS journey. On Instagram, I just started it last week, or was it last week or Sunday? It's brand new, so you can definitely find us there. And basically on our journey with my son, my oldest son, Daniel. At the moment, he's on the spectrum of autism, and then as well as he is nonverbal. So we're just living life accordingly and trying to.
So those of you who are watching, just make sure you check out the buyer's journey, where you get to hear about Kayla, Daniel, and Dylan, and their journey with Daniel being nonverbal on the autism spectrum, and learning how to communicate in unique ways with the
Yep.
world around him. That's dope. Um,
Really.
so icebreaker for today. How often do you take a break from? And I need to get back to the comments because we have a whole lot of comments. Hey Jocelyn. Oh wait, we lost Kayla. Hey Jocelyn. Jocelyn's here. Let's see who else is here. Janae's here. Oh, thank you, Jocelyn, for putting out the at. Wait for Kayla to get back on. I don't even know what happened to her. I think she just lost signal, maybe. But the question. Oh, love the unicorn. Yeah. So in my niece's room, she has great decor. The unicorn brings a lot of life into the room, into her life. It is amazing. Um, uh, how often do you take a mental break from life where you're just like, I'm unplugging, or even what does a mental break mean to you? How often are you taking that break? And we'll talk about it a little bit before Kate second. Oh, she's back.
Sorry.
Hey, welcome.
Okay, you were asking. Go ahead. Sorry. Icebreaker. How often do you take a break from life? Are you asking me this or everybody just in general?
Well, so the chat just started answering. Uh,
Okay.
so Janae says daily. Yeah, yeah. So what does that mental break look like? Jocelyn says not
Not
often
enough.
enough.
Sometimes
And
it's
sometimes it's
forced.
the first one. I can say that is 115% true for her. Um, she don't want to stop, and I think that we had a conversation very similar to this. When you grow up around people who are constantly moving, constantly doing stuff, you have to feel like, okay, I'm gonna take a quick nap and then I gotta get back to it. Get back to what? You've done everything. I don't know. I have to just get back to
So
doing
true.
something. So Jocelyn, what does that mental break look like, even if it's forced?
Oh, I think she's
Um,
frozen.
Janae
I
E.
think I'm here by myself.
No,
What
can you
is
not hear
going
me?
on? No, you were frozen that one time. I bet you watch me, you play it back, you'll see. I was like, so I think I'm here by myself.
That was like 13 seconds.
Today's a day. We were
Oh my
late,
gosh. Okay.
having technical issues.
Um, so Janae says reading is my mental break and me unplugging from the world.
I have
Okay.
not read in a very long
It
time.
is
Like an
actually
actual,
very stimulating.
I
It's
don't know,
like one of the best things I can do.
but an actual
Uh,
book I've read.
Money,
Jamani.
a nap,
Yeah.
a complete shutdown. That is also a good break. Typically after I read, I do take a nap just because
Really.
just
But
reading is
I
a lot.
can't, for me, I can't stand when it's like I have to force myself to take a nap, but then I hate being woken up from my nap. If I already set a time,
Mm,
like if I was to be woken up from my nap to do something, I'm just like, what's the whole purpose of taking a nap?
yeah, because you have to, and I know
Hey,
as
she's
a
frozen
parent,
again. What the world?
am I?
Yeah, your face was frozen, so I was just like, Lord Jesus.
I don't move a lot, but
I
I'm not.
tried everything I could. Before, why are you
Okay.
stressing me today?
So, what does it look like for you?
Taking a break?
Yes.
Honestly, going for a drive. That's my taking a break from the world, even though I'm still outside and on the road, but that's just me because I like scenery. But just lately taking a drive is my biggest thing. Taking a break from life. Kayla, fix your Wi-Fi. It's not me. It's not my fault. Did you answer to the
No.
icebreaker? What about you? What do you do?
So, typically, oh, she said, "Oh, you wasted gas." Um, Typically, what I do as far as a mental break is taking a walk. I tend to move away from whatever it is that I'm working on and doing something else to keep me occupied. Doing
Mm.
something physically, whether it is building something, making something, where I can like putting together a shelf or creating whatever. I just have to coloring. Coloring is a big one for
Yo, I
me.
was about to say,
I
yo, that
love
coloring book
like,
you have.
oh yes, I have to get another one too because I'm like starting to run out of paper.
Really?
But yes, coloring is a great way for me to
Do you color in the
um,
lines?
sometimes, other times I just color the page. Look, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I don't need to always color in the lines or whatever the case may be.
I think it is
So
my Wi-Fi that messes up. Oh Lord.
so what I am so what I like to do is just take a break and check in with myself so that I don't get overworked or stressed because in this workism culture where we're constantly told that we have to continue to work and keep working, it is rather frustrating a lot of times when you feel like you're not achieving things. And so if you go so long without achieving, um, if you go so long without achieving something that you feel like, yeah, I may be failing at something, or I need to do
Yeah.
more, or I have to do this, or I have to get to, and it's like, no, I don't. I do whatever it is I do, and then I'm done.
Or you just stop altogether.
True.
Yeah, I know that's for me. That's my biggest thing is once it's like I feel burnt out. Is that yeah? When I feel burnt out, I'm like, you know what? Though it's not for me, and I just give up pretty much.
To now
Sorry, we
that
have a
I've gotten
special guest in the
older,
background, so just to let you know.
oh, that's fine. Um, just so that
But
I don't, I get to the
okay,
before I get to the
definitely for
point.
me when it comes from taking a break. For me, now that I have, I'm not saying my kids as like a distraction, but it is a big difference for taking a break for myself. Like I may like when they're taking a nap or something, I can be doing other things like folding clothes, so making like lunch or something. It's like I'm always doing something. I can be taking a break, but I'm really still doing something, you know?
Yeah,
So for me, my biggest thing is even though it can be seen as wasting gas, uh, driving is my biggest thing. Nap, on the other hand, not really much. Because the only time I do nap is when I'm about to get ready for work. So it's like I'm always doing something. So
but why do you feel like you have to always do something?
say it again.
Why do you feel like you always have to do something?
I guess to feel accomplished. Because I don't want my day to go by and be like, oh, what did I do today? Nothing. But I know sometimes I do need that because I do get overwhelmed very easily.
Hmm.
But when I don't do anything, I will still become overwhelmed because it's like either way it goes, I'll become overwhelmed. Either I did something that day, I accomplished something, or I didn't do anything at all. Where I feel like I wasted so much time, and I could have gotten so many things done. And it's
Hmm.
like, okay, so why did I not do anything? Because I was taking a break. And to me, sometimes taking a break is like you can do it. I can push it out. I can push it back. Like I don't have to take a break right now. I can always get to it. I can get to my break later on. And what I
Hmm.
need to focus on is a little bit more important than taking a break.
Yeah,
So it happens.
yeah. In this week's episode, especially with everything going on, we thought that it was important to talk about checking in with yourself,
Hmm.
because especially when we find ourselves getting short tempered, or we find ourselves becoming irritable, or not really wanting to whatever the case may be, right? We find ourselves in these situations where we're just feeling pressure from everywhere, and we don't take the time to check in with ourselves to see what we want,
Yeah.
what's going on. And because of that, a lot of times a lot of our needs are not being met. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the importance of checking in with yourself, seeing like ways to do that. You don't just have to go see a counselor, you don't just have to go read a book, you don't just have to, talk to your friend. There's multiple ways to just take a beat. And one of the things that I have found with talking to people, especially in the year 2020, when we're in isolation. And so typically what happens is we are in an echo chamber, whether it be on social media, in our social groups, or at work. We surround ourselves with people who think, walk, talk, act like us. They could be different, but typically we have similar goals. We may just have different ways of reaching it. So because we're kind of in an echo chamber where we just hear, we're affirmed in what we think and what we feel, how we act. When we get into oh, Michelle's here. Hey, Michelle. Yes, and you too. You're another one who just constantly works all the time. Um, but it's important to have that time to get away, even if it's for, like Janai says, she does it daily. Some people have to be forced to take breaks, and that could be in the form of your significant other, telling you to sit down somewhere. That could be in the form of, you getting into a car accident, now you can't drive, or something happening where you have to be forced to sit down. A lot of us have been forced to be still because in the with the numerous pandemics going on, having to see so
Not
much
one.
yeah, having to see so much violence, so much um antipathy, and so many excuses that people don't care about human
Yeah.
life, and having to see that over, and we become desensitized to it, where it's like, well, another murder, another person died, the numbers are rising, and then we just start getting further and further away from caring. And so then then there are people who are on the other side who care so much that they become overwhelmed, or they become stressed because they care so much, and it's like, I can't keep seeing these images. So it's good to unplug. It's good to walk away. It's good to have, different people that you're able to lean on, like your core support group. But one of the things that we talked about was the importance of checking in with yourself, understanding through and sorting your thoughts. And in this episode, I explained how I talk to my inner child, because I'm working on reparenting myself. Because there's a lot of things that I just do, like I'm not as disciplined because my inner child sometimes just runs my life, and I allow it to happen because I don't take the time to check in to see, okay, what is it that you really want? Because kids, you ask them what they want, they don't really know. What do you want? Candy for dinner, candy for breakfast, ice cream for lunch. They don't really know what they want. So since that's the case, as the adult, I have to make better decisions as far as, like, okay, our goal is to get this, this, and this. So if that's our goal, then we have to start with where we are. And so if I become frustrated because somebody didn't show up, or if I become upset because I had unmet expectations, or if I was offended by what someone did, instead of acting out of emotion or because I did not process correctly what happened, I could become overwhelmed because it's just something bubbling up from, this
Yeah.
microaggression, this aggression, this offense, this thing happened, and then all of a sudden I am really pissed off with the world. But it wasn't the world's fault. It was just that I didn't deal with things as they came. I didn't take the
Correct.
time
Yeah.
to disconnect and deal
Now,
with each
how
one.
often, especially with everything that's going on, how often would you say it's reasonable to take that break? Like, especially with everything going on, how much of a break is needed, and how often would you say people need to take a break instead of letting things boil over or build up?
Well, some people don't know how to deal with things. Their thing is just like, oh, I'll just, like Kevin Hart says all the time. He doesn't want to deal with things. If something is uncomfortable or frustrated, whatever, he's just like, just let time pass and it'll go away. Like if we ignore it long enough, it'll fix itself.
Really, he did?
Yeah. So he doesn't like confrontation. There are people who don't like confrontation,
That
right?
okay?
There are
That, yeah,
people who
that's
don't.
true.
There are people who love confrontation. There are people who are just like,
Yeah,
it's really not that big of a deal to me. So it just depends on the person. For me, I like to nip things in the bud. So if there is an offense, if there is something, if it is worth me, fixing the relationship, I
yeah.
address it. Hey, Kayla, when you said this, or when you did this thing, I don't know what your intentions were, but because I know you, I assume that you're not being malicious toward me, but I don't like when you talk to me XYZ. And having that kind of conversation, or being able to face things head on in that way, is going to be much better than me holding out and saying, well, I'm just not going to say anything, but every time I see you there's a problem, every time I see you there's an issue, every time I see you, it's a frustrating thing. Does that make sense? So you're still on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. My bad. When it comes to like, especially the frustration that people don't want to get it out, do you think it's because of the reaction that they'll get back from it, of expressing like what's going on? Because
And
you
you
know
know,
how a lot of times you hear that, oh, well, I'm sorry that you felt that way. And it's
mhm.
like, you're not really sorry. You're just pretty much just saying that I should not have felt how I felt.
Yeah, so here's the thing. When you acknowledge someone's, because everybody's not mature enough to have that kind of conversation where it's like, because I was one who was just like, look, I'm very direct. I don't want to beat around the bush. This is what it is. Take it or leave it. I was a lot like that. But what I had to learn is that everybody can't take that. And if I wanted to build positive relationships with people, I
Yeah.
had to learn where they are. So, a person like you, because you know me, I can be a little bit more direct, but I know that you're more sensitive than I am. So, and Janae is absolutely correct. Some situations just aren't worth the energy. But that's why I said, like, it's very important to know what the goal is in whatever the social interaction was. If somebody cut me off on the freeway, I am not going to chase this person down.
You
But
give them the death glare.
right, but if my significant other says something to my mother, then that is something where it's like, no, 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 we need to talk about it because this is not okay.
Yeah. So,
So I think
all right.
that it's very it depends on the situation. It depends on how important the situation is to you. I really won't, Jocelyn. I really won't. I got
Wait.
I'm on
So,
the, I got places to go. I'm not.
really,
I am.
when Janelle says some situations are not worth the energy, do you like, say for instance you're in a circle and there's one particular person you just can't stand any longer, that they either something happened where you just can't stand them any longer? Do you let that person know, like, hey, no longer, dealing with you, or do you just leave it as is?
So, like I said, I think we talked about this last week. Some people are not worth keeping in your close circle, and sometimes you have to
Hmm.
deal with them from a long handled spoon. Uh, just live by.
Yeah.
Uh, I would, I would definitely like let that person know, hey, what you did was messed up, and depending on what the offense is, and whether if they, especially if they don't acknowledge it or take ownership, if they did one of those half apologies where it's just like, I mean, I don't know why you felt that way, or it's your fault that you took it that way. I didn't mean it like that, or whatever the case may be. I have no reason to associate with this person because they showed me who their character is. And
Hmm.
if they don't have, look, if they're gonna be where they are and it's gonna mess up they have enough power to change my environment when they're around
Yeah.
in my life. Uh,
Really.
whatever works best.
It's best to keep there.
Yeah. As long as you're not using your piece to settle the dispute, keep all your weapons in your pocket. So they're not worth it. They're not worth it. But yeah, I think that it really depends on the situation. But especially when we have so much time by ourselves and we're hearing our own voice, our own thoughts, and what's going on, it's going
Hmm.
to be more important for us to take the time to understand where our thoughts are coming from, get into the root of that, so that we can get back to where we want to be. So once we and what time? It's already 7:40. We just let's see. And we have one more thing to talk about. Oh, maybe not. Oh, maybe that was it. But yeah, so yeah, I think that depending on, depending on what it is that we have found, that helps us keep our peace: walking, reading, taking a drive, uh, talking to other people, getting outside our comfort zone, base jumping, parasailing.
You just say who? Base jumping?
Yeah.
What is base jumping?
You know, what's the name did it in Last Holiday? Um,
Is that when you stand on a like a boulder or something and you just fall off?
Yeah, like you know how they wear the things that look like a flying squirrel
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, the
and they
thing that
fall and they
yeah.
yeah. So that
Okay.
so yeah. So whatever it is going to help you keep your peace because keeping your peace should not come at the cost of somebody else's peace.
Yeah.
So at that point, what you should do is definitely, you fought this long to be peaceful in your life. It's not worth anybody coming in and disrupting it. So take the time out, whatever you're doing, especially during this pandemic. Take the time to really check in with yourself, so that you can,
Self-care.
yeah,
And it's the best thing to do.
yeah,
And it don't even have to be, I mean, it could be 24 hours, but hey, if it's 10 minutes a day, nothing's wrong with that.
right.
Because you
Whatever,
never
whatever
know
it is. Some people
when
need
you
to
could
do it
just
every hour on the hour.
woosah, let it all out. It's okay.
Some people need to do it very often. So, thank you all for tuning in to another Champions of Discord. Take a Think
Okay, take a
podcast.
big podcast, maybe.
Yeah. Be sure, if you haven't already, um, to check out Kayla's new page on Instagram, The Buyer's
Oh,
Journey.
yeah, you did the thing.
Yes,
Thanks, bro.
I did. Of
Appreciate
course,
the
I
love.
did the thing. Of course, I did the thing. And Jocelyn also put it in the chat, which is great. So just make sure that you take the time for yourself, because a lot of people don't have that luxury. And while we're in quarantine, while we're by ourselves, take the time to do that for yourself. Thank you
No
so
time
much
like the
for
present.
tuning in. We will see y'all next week. Y'all have a great one.
Bye.